As I keep searching the globe for horror movies that are actually scary, I think it's important to show that horror can offer many more things than fear. Maybe one day the Oscars will learn this, who knows? That's why I started this series about horror films that are actually good. And today, I've got another batch. Be sure to comment with your own picks, check out the previous volume in this series, and toss me a subscribe. It's super nice. First up is 1987's Hellraiser. Where to even start with this one? The makeup isn't just gross, but really impressive. It's kind of like the inverse of The Fly, where here we see a man evolve from a gooey blob to a 90% copy of a man. It all looks fantastic, and the sequence where he emerges from the floor, it just had me in awe. Then of course there's Pinhead and the Cenobites, who have great makeup and inventive designs that leads right to the next big reason this is such a cult classic, and that's the theme of sadomasochism. Ooh. Hellraiser is one of, if not the first, notable horror film to use S&M as its main theme, and it dives into it head first. The leather, the body torture, pleasure as a main motivator, all of it is such a refreshing deviation from typical horror tropes. Hellraiser also has an excellent score, and unlike the remake, has a main character I didn't want to die. Sure, it does seem like by the end the production ran out of money, but I think the best compliment I can give the movie is that it's unpredictable without being random. You don't know where the story is headed. Gore and creatures are constantly raising the stakes, but the narrative never gets lost. It's a rebellious, dirty horror movie that's actually done well. The kind of movie made when no one's looking. I'm not the kind to praise an older movie simply based on reputation. I don't give a damn about status. And I honestly think this one is worth checking out.
You solved the box. We came. Now you must come with us. Taste our pleasures.
Please, go away, leave me alone.
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
As always, I must clarify that this series is about horror movies that are good but didn't scare me. The really spooky ones are in that other playlist. Yet I can understand how my number 5 pick, South Korea's horror opus The Wailing, could really freak people out. Blood, infection, zombies, possession, and the most disturbing devil in cinematic history, this film has about as many horror elements as one could want. Not to mention, this movie is bleak. I go into The Wailing with more detail in a recent video essay, and one thing I discussed is just how good the acting is. The scenes between father and daughter are heartbreaking, and you get the sense that the performers are pulling every bit of internal strength to reach these emotions. When any given character is in pain, it feels so authentic you're practically hurting with them. Jun Kunimura is, of course, perfect. With or without dialogue, he is eerily calm and confident, and does so much with very little. Also, he's just got an amazing laugh. The Wailing looks great, from its lush cinematography to its gruesome makeup. The music is evocative, and the setting is practically a character itself. There are horror flicks that are ideal as a short, fun rental. We're actually getting to one later, but The Wailing is one of those heavy epics with a lot to chew on. It's the Deer Hunter of horror. If that works for you, check it out. Next is the sci-fi horror extravaganza, Annihilation. The setup is fairly simple. A meteor has landed in the American South and created a zone, called the Shimmer, that is not only changing the biology of everything within, but is expanding. This is one of the most intense mixed bags in cinema, in that certain flaws seem inexcusable, and yet the positive elements aren't just memorable but should be iconic. The acting is weirdly low energy, even kind of bad at points. Not as bad as a Darman video, but still.
I wish I didn't look like this right now.
The decision to cut back and forth in time is totally unnecessary, and there's a moment where someone sees tentacles in a human stomach and says, "It's a trick of the light," which may be the worst line Alex Garland ever wrote. But then you have the creature design. Since DNA is mutating inside the Shimmer, oh boy, we'll step right up, because we get to enjoy a giant albino alligator with rows of shark teeth, deer with floral antlers, and a diseased bear made up of human skulls. Did I mention the bear can speak with the last words of his previous victims? It's clear they put a lot of thought into that bear especially, and the result is a major highlight. A growing paranoia is well established in the plot as the body count rises and our characters realize that the alien force they're investigating is truly alien, unknowable and unpredictable. And of course, we have the climax. My god, does Annihilation have one of the best, trippiest climaxes to any horror or sci-fi film. It's like taking drugs created by extraterrestrials. Even with its flaws, there's too much imagination and gorgeous weirdness in Annihilation not to recommend.
You said she was dead.
Yes, I've got it!
Next is the Swedish movie The Conference, which is on Netflix. This was such a nice surprise, and it's too bad no one seemed to talk about it. Even Netflix did a poor job pushing it, calling it, quote, a slasher for the quiet quitting generation.
Get the fuck out of here.
Okay, anyone who uses the phrase quiet quitting is an out of touch and probably overpaid douchebag. Also, trying to market this with its themes and satire was the wrong call. The conference takes place on a work retreat, and one by one, the employees get killed by someone wearing a promotional mask from the company. The movie stumbles at first. It's wearing its comedy elements on its sleeve, and it should take them off because as a satire, this is obvious, repetitive, and not funny. The first act isn't unbearable or anything, it's just fine, watchable. However, when the conference shrugs off the comedy and becomes a slasher, it is high energy and gory and good, all the way to the credits. The villain has a real presence on screen. You can feel the vengeful anger radiating off him. He's smart, capable, and uses a variety of weapons and traps to dispatch his victims. All the kills are brutal and surprisingly creative. This is without a doubt the best slasher to come out in a decade, maybe 2 decades. The killer's look, vibe, and methods put him right up there with Jason Voorhees, and I don't say that lightly. So while it takes a little bit to get going, when the conference realizes what movie it should be, it is a joy to see. I can't recommend this enough as a casual watch with friends or with that special someone. I'd say give the conference a go. Super fun. Number 2 is 1979's Alien. I know that Generation Z, or even my own Generation Y, may hesitate when watching older films. Some of this is low attention span. Nope, it is. But honestly, some classic films don't hold up. With that, the original Alien actually does hold up quite nicely. And its filmmaking is done with such intelligence that I consider it a must-see for any artist of any kind. The production design is a marvel, and not that kind of marvel with the stupid rhinos and the finale straight from a fucking GameCube. I mean in that you can't stop staring at it. And much of it isn't even flashy. The opening is a sequence of simple shots of the ship, and you feel like you're there. It's the coolest MTV Cribs you'll ever see. The sets aren't cluttered with random gizmos, and this reinforces the idea that this is a functional, practical vessel. And when we do get to the alien sculptures, they're perfectly bizarre, but still match the overall metallic grit of this world. This way, Alien can build a little something called mood. The slow pace, the focus on characters, how much time we spend on the ship itself, all of it. gets you nice and familiar with what's going on, and yet feel on edge. The newer films manage to be pretentious and stupid simultaneously.
They're breakdance fighting!
But the original Alien feels like it was made by adults. I love the decision not to show the alien in full view until the end. It's kind of like Jaws, except here, it's teasing us as to what this thing even looks like. A mouth here, a tail there, so we're creeped out by this threat, and yet want to see it in full form. Morbid curiosity. That's a horror staple. I really have to emphasize this. It's not boring. The slow pace is necessary to build the suspense, but the runtime is littered with great moments. Especially for the time, the chestburster scene is shocking, and the fact that the actors were sprayed with real blood definitely influenced the performances. There's the facehugger, the betrayal, and the countdown sequence that's 10 minutes of alarms and panic, yet still sounds better than J-Lo's new single.
Ooh.
It looks great, it sounds great, and no scene is wasted.
What the hell is that?
Last up is not only an awesome horror drama, but my personal favorite movie of 2021. It's called Titane. Okay, so here's what you need to know about this movie. It's about a serial killer who is sexually attracted to metal, and after having sex with a muscle car, gets pregnant. She then impersonates a missing child to hide from the law, while also trying to conceal her metallic pregnancy. Yeah, this movie is crazy, and I love it. Titane is great for pretty much every reason movies are great. The cinematography, beautiful. The editing, motivated. The acting, superb. The movie explores interesting themes of identity, grief, and sexuality, while also completing a satisfying character arc. You could say the same about many movies, but what separates this one is its originality. You really get the vibe that the movie is doing whatever it wants. The makeup looks amazing, and I put it right up there with Cronenberg. Titane has such a bizarre premise, but it's crafted so well that you buy every second of it. Or at least I did. I know this may irk some comments since its horror status is a bit borderline. In its third act, it becomes more of a character drama, and quite a moving one at that. Still, the horror elements, while not trying to scare you, are a consistent presence. There's graphic body horror, self-mutilation, and some hard-to-watch murders. Someone gets impaled through the ear with a chopstick, for Christ's sake. It's nice to watch something this freakish and free that is taking itself seriously and deserves to do so. It's not Blumhouse, it's not A24, it's something else. Something that's honestly hard to classify. One thing I know is that I love it. It's a great ride, so if it sounds cool to you, go watch it. That's my Volume 2 of Great Horror Films. What are some of yours? Comment below and be sure to check out my Actually Scary playlist, as well as my honest ranking of the top 10 movies from 2023. As always, you guys are awesome, and thanks for watching.